Okay, last time we created a simple web API with widgets for create, read, update, and delete. So this time we're going to create a front end, just a very crude front end, showing how you utilize this backend. So to do that, we're going to create a directory called www. In fact, I think, let's see, did I call it www or web over here? When we serve the pages, oh, that's right. We're going to have to create one more thing on the back end. Let's create something that will handle the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and serve it for us. We'll call this site. And we'll put it right below the main thing. Do func site HTTP response writer. This will be the request. And what we'll do is we will serve the file. And it'll be www, I think it goes like that, our URL path. We'll have to test that to see if that works. So we'll create a www directory or a web directory. And then inside of it, we'll create an index.html page. And then we'll just create a basic template for an HTML. So we'll have doc type HTML. That will give us an HTML5. HTML head just body title widgets test, and that's good enough. I mean, there's some other stuff that you would probably want to add in here for the meta, but this is just for testing purposes. So let's go back over here. Let's build our API. So now we have, now we have our widgets. Let's run it. It's serving at 8080. Oops. Let's see. Let's go over here and go to our web browser. And then go to our local host. Oh, I don't want to. Okay. Localhost 8080. So now we're serving the test. So now we know that it works. Let's start to build our HTML stuff. We'll break out. Let's see. What should we do here? We have to design a page. We need to create, read, update, and delete our widgets. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all of this on one page, and we're not going to make it look pretty. We're just going to get things functional. So we're going to have h2 create widget. And then what we'll do is we'll have, let's actually reference. We're going to send these widgets over messages. So create a couple things. Name of the widget, input, type text, ID, name. Actually, that'll be good. We'll have manufacturer, input, type, text, ID, and just call it MFG. And we'll have the next thing called description. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to go down here and we'll copy this. And we're going to give it a price. Then we're going to have a button. Button on click, and that will be the submit function that we're going to have. So we'll say create widget create widget, and there, that will create our widget. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create a little bit of JavaScript. So we are already inside our web folder, so we'll make another directory for your JavaScript. And this will just be called main.javascript. So what we'll do is create a couple functions. I always like to have this get function because we use it all the time. Return document dot get element by ID. That way you don't have to say this over and over again. You can just have a single function that does the get for you. We're going to have a function that create widget, and this will do, we need to create a let message equal this JSON thing, then we'll send it at the end, and then we're going to have a name, and we're going to do get name value manufacturer. Did I spell that correctly? Manufacturer get NFG value description get description and price get price. And notice I'm not doing any validation here. So typically what you'd want to do is you'd want to have like a client-side validation of the kinds of things that you want to have. Make sure that they're within the correct ranges, if they're numbers and so forth. And then you would want to have a server-side validation to make sure that anyone who's using your API is not using it inappropriately. But we're skipping that here for brevity. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to do something the old school way. I know that there's a new way to make these HTTP requests, but we're going to create we're gonna do things the old school way. So we're gonna have a new XML HTTP request, and then we'll do XHR dot, let's see, what was it? On ready state change function. Okay. So then we'll be able to do over here, we'll be able to do XHR open. And this will be a post. And we're going to do create widget. I believe that's what it's called. Do that, and XHR send. And then we'll have JSON.stringify. the message. And let's take a look up here. Oh, it's just called create. So create will be all that we need. And then up here, we're going to have, this would allow us to do essentially this on ready state changes for the callback. So this allows us to say, okay, there is the response of the server. This is where you handle it. So we're going to say if xhr ready state, I believe, equals 4, and xhr status equals 200. Then what we're going to do is just handle stuff here. We'll just do a console.log server response, and we'll do xhr response text. I think that's what it is. So there we go. And so you'd put all of your stuff for handling a response here, which we're going to do a little bit later. But for now, we're just going to have this kind of template structure. So now, after we've got create widget, we're going to have to include it into our index.html. So we're going to have script source JS main JS, and that will take care of that. I think that's how you do it. Yeah, that should be okay. And then what we're going to do over here is we're going to check for when, actually, what is the called? It's called create. So we're actually going to check for this. We're going to have a log print line create called. And we'll make sure that we have log up here, so that's good. Go funct. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go up here, we're going to close this, we're going to build it again because we made some changes to our server, and we're going to see if this works. Right, so we're going to go widgets API. We're going to go over here. We're going to refresh this. Now we have name, manufacturer, and so forth. So name, my widget, manufacturer, Acme, description, just a cool widget. Price, $10. Actually, this should be a number instead of a text, but that's okay. Oh, you know what? That might be a problem because over here, when we have the price of the widget, it is a float 64, so it should be a number. So let's change our input here. Type, was it numeric? Let's look that up. At the Mozilla Developer Network, HTML input. Input type. It can be. Isn't there a number? Input. I thought there was a number. There's range. There should be. There's date. There's number. Number. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it should be number, not numeric. So let's go over here and this number. And price, it'll still be value. So that should still be good. So if we go over here to the widgets test, we'll just copy that. Just refresh, so that way we've got thing manufacturer, Acme, we'll have my widget, something like that. Price of 10, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. So we'll do create widget, And we'll also look at this thing here for the console for the response. XML HTTP request not defined. Can't access declaration XHR before initialization. Okay, so let's take a look at that. MD in XML HTTP request. It's probably a capitalization problem. Probably HTTP is not, yeah, so HTTP is not capitalized. That's no problem. Okay, so we can do this again. Let's do my widget. Acme, my widget, and we'll say 10. And create widget. Hey, server response. So let's see what the server said. Hey, create is called. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look in our data. Okay, so we didn't write anything down. We didn't save anything. Did we finish the API? Let's do create. Should write file to the data directory, and the data directory is data. And so what we should do here is check the error. If error nil, log println error. There we go. So let's go over here. Let's build this again. Oh, and we need to go 70. Error already exists. So that's okay. And then we'll say, go build, see what we get, and let's run, wait, where is it called? Widgets. Okay, we're gonna run the server. We're gonna try it again. Widget, MFG, description, whatever, price 10, create widget. So let's see what that does. Data is a directory. So we're not giving it the name. The widget.name is not being sent. So let's say m.data. So let's take a look at this. Log println m.data, and we'll do log println widget. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll build this again. Just testing things here. And then we didn't change anything, so let's just run it again. Okay. So yeah, so nothing is here. Nothing's being sent. That's not very good. So send. Let's see what this message is. Let's do console log JSON stringify message. Okay, so okay, let's run this again. Widget, manufacturer, description, price, create widget. Okay, so we do have a name, widget, and it should be sent through this xhr.send. We know that something is being sent, but because create is being called, but the m.data, oh, because we're not having, yes, okay. We need to create a message envelope, all right, because look at what we've got here, something called a message here, right? So this will be our data widget. Then we'll have let message equal and then we're going to have data, which is the JSON stringify message, right? And then there is going to be no error thing here, so that'll be good. And then we can stringify the message. So that should be much better. So what we'll do is we'll go this again, name widget, manufacturer, description, price, create widget. Oh no, wait, cannot access message before initialization. Oh, is that because, that's because, let's see, let widget message, oh, not message, this needs to be widget, obviously. So here we go, widget, 10, create. There we go. So now, there we go. So now it seems like we've created a widget. Let's confirm that we've created a widget in data. Okay, so data widget, and there's our widget stored in our data, our crude database. So now that we know that create is working, so we're going to just add a couple more things, get the rest of them working. So we're going to do a read, so basically getting the widget, read widget, and we're going to get it by name, so let data equal this, name, get widget name, value, let a message equals like this, and we'll do data equals JSON stringify data, and we'll do the same kind of thing. We'll have create, oops, we're going to read, and this will be the same kind of thing where we'll go to our index.html, and we're going to have a horizontal rule, and we're going to do this other thing after the horizontal rule, h2, get widget, h2, name, input type text, ID, wname, because we need to name it something different. And we'll have a button on click. It's going to be read widget, get widget. And what we'll do underneath this is have a text area, rows equals, I don't know, 24, columns equals 80, right? That's kind of standard. And then we'll do an ID of widget or something like that. So that'll be that. So that will allow us to get the widget, and what we'll do is we'll just display the text back from that. So we'll go back into our JavaScript, and then here for the server response, we're just going to say, okay, we're going to get the message packet that's being sent back to us, and we're going to say, okay, if XHR response text length is greater than 0, then what we're going to do is we're going to let the message equal JSON parse the XHR response text And then what we're going to do is we're going to do get, what did we call it? Widget. And then inner HTML. Something like that. Inner HTML equals, or actually maybe we could just call it the value. I think that'll be it. I think that'll be good. Value equals XHR, response text. I guess one thing I should also say is that instead of XHR, you can use this, because within this function, this will be this XHR thing, but I kind of like being explicit with it. So that should be that. We shouldn't have to change the server. So we should get this, get widget. Oh no, HTML and body. Oh, a couple things that we want to have here. Vim index text area. That's important. The other thing is we want to have a line break between those two. So vim js main. So we'll just reload that. We'll get a widget called widget and get widget. Widget does not exist. Okay. So there must be something, there may be a bug in our get widget read. Oh, you know what? Let's see. Read, so it's called read. And so we get the message data. Oh, I should have just put the name. Yeah. Let's just do this. Get wname value. That's much better. So we'll go here and we'll say widget, get widget, and we've got the widget. Now we have the JSON for the widget. Now obviously what you'd want to do in your front end is to decode this, right? Put it into an object, and then you can have some sort of awesome way of displaying it here. In fact, that's what we're going to do here. What we're going to do is, instead of having a text area, we're also going to make this a get and update widget. Get, update, delete, right? It's going to be all of these things. And what we're going to do is we're going to take name, price, and everything like that. And that will allow us to, all of these things are going to be we'll call it mod. You just want to come up with some name that works for this. Typically you'd want these in different places in a single app, but we're combining all these things. So I mean, typically it would just be name, and this would all be on a different page or a different, you know, control, but we're putting them all together, which is why we have to use these weird things like mod name. So once we do that, we'll have to update the front end for the display, which will be to look at, actually, yeah, the JavaScript, and we'll get message parse. What did we get? We got a message with data inside of it, right? So So what we'll do is if let's actually change this. I don't like having all this highly indented stuff. So we're going to move this outside. And this will be if this length equals 0, we will just return. Okay. So there we go. So then we'll say if message.data .length equals 0, we'll just skip out on that. Otherwise, we're going to show the message on the page, right? So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to get mod name value, and that's going to be let's make something that's a little bit easier. Let W for the widget, and this will be message JSON parse and the message.data, right? So now we have the widget, and now we can say widget.name. It makes it easy, right? So name manufacturer MFG manufacturer description, and well, we'll do price price. There we go. So now we're going to show the message data on the page. And we're going to check oops. Oh. Okay, so that's set up. Read widget. Let's see if that works. This will be an interesting test. So we'll do widget, get widget, and we have a little bit of an error, but that's okay. We can walk through it. Something is null. Main.js 13. So the widget XHR response text. Get widget. Oh, it's probably not called widget anymore, right? Because that was, yeah, that was something else. Okay. That's fine. We'll just get widget. Now we've got widget. Though the price didn't come through very well. Price was 0. So when we created the widget, the price didn't go through. How to... Okay, JavaScript get value of number input. Should be super easy. I thought it was value. It is value. So did I just not do that correctly? Let's create another widget like W2. Manufacturer, description, price, huge price, right? Should be big. Oh, it's coming through as 0. Oh, because it's sent as a string. Yeah, of course it's going to be 0 if it's sent as a string. Should not be a string. Should be a number. So we need to change that here. This needs to be, I believe, number? I think that's how that works. And this, that should still be fine. So let's see what happens here. Let's do this. Name W3, manufacturer, description, and price 678. Okay. Oh, still coming as a what? String to number and oh, is this is actually not for create widget. Create widget is over here. Oh. Okay. Why didn't you guys tell me? Local, whoops, local host, W4. We're gonna have a bunch of widgets. Manufacturer, yeah. 2, 3, 4. Create widget. W4. We should be able to get the widget. There we go. Very good. So now we can create the widget and get the widget, and we're properly creating the widget now. Very good. You know what? Time is actually going very fast here. I thought I was going to be able to just sail right through this fast enough and get all of this stuff done in just, you know, a few minutes, but it's already becoming long. So I think what we'll do is we'll break this up and we'll do a second video. Well, actually, it would be the third in the series on doing the update and the delete widget. I mean, I could leave it as an exercise to the reader, but I think it would be nice to just show how it's done and at least have a very crude example of creating these things, right? And I'm not planning on doing anything on how to make things look pretty, because that's like a completely different subject. This is just showing how we can create a back end and then have a completely separate front end, because a lot of people do front end development that's kind of closely tied to the back end server, and that can be good, but this is also a different way of doing it. So I just wanted to show how this works. So I think that'll be good for today, and we'll see about creating another video that just kind of wraps this up.